All right, so I grew up in the small town of Port Hope, Ontario, which is like an hour and a bit east of here. And it's this like quaint, historic, quintessential little Ontario town. And they film a lot of movies and TV shows there. And they actually filmed both of the It movies there and the It TV show. So when I went to watch the TV show, I was a little taken aback that they painted my hometown as being like homophobic and racist, where people turn a blind eye to bullying because like I thought it was fiction. And growing up there was hell. Like I would have welcomed a monstrous murder clown named Pennywise who feeds on fear, over some of the bullshit that I had to deal with. Like, in fact, I could have taught it a thing or two about bravery and fear. And Bravery is going to Jumbo Video at the age of 17 and walking straight back into the porn room on a mission to rent my first gay porn. And I don't if you didn't get to experience video rental stores, like they all had this porn room in the back and it was like separated by a beaded curtain, or a bed sheet, or in the case of Jumbo Video, a large, heavy wooden door that slammed shut behind you, just like bam, and you're in the porn. And it was always like nerve-wracking to go in there because I didn't know who was gonna be in the room. Like I was always scared I'd run into like my friend's dad or something. But that day when I walked in, it was just this old man and me. And so porn room culture, like it's its own thing. Like it's very like shameful and secretive, and there's like no talking at all. And if a movie catches your eye, you like pick it up and you hold it close because you don't want anyone to see what you're looking at, but you also totally want to see what everyone else is looking at. And like that day, I didn't want anyone to know what I was looking at. So I just perused the straight porn. And the thing about the 90s is there was a lot of parody porn for some reason. Like there were titles like Beetlejuism and Splatman and Edward Penis Hands. And I am not making these up. But so I was just looking at the movies, just waiting for the guy to leave, and suddenly hear like bam, and the old guy has left the building. And so I go on over to the section I was really interested in, only it didn't exist. Because in the 90s, in a small town, gay porn didn't exist. So I had to settle for the next best thing, the bisexual porn. And the movie titles there weren't any better, right? Like there was Bye Bye Birdie, Fly By Night, The Hills Have Bis. But none of those were good. Those were not the ones that were it for me. That night I chose bicycling. And I don't know what possessed me to pick that particular VHS tape. Like the cover had this girl and she was like flanked by a guy on either side and they're standing in front of a bicycle. And the one guy has like this blonde mullet and he's wearing these like weird bikini brief things. And the other guy's wearing cycling shorts and he has this like really thin, weird headband. And the girl's a girl. And so I pick up the tape and I walk out the door and letting the door close gently behind me. And I march on up to the front desk. And I'm betting that if I'm ballsy enough to put bicycling down on the counter, that they're not going to challenge me and they're just going to let me rent it. And they did. So I walk out and I, grab my free bag of Jumbo Video popcorn on the way out the door. And on my way home, with my newfound confidence, I decide that I am not going to watch this upstairs in my bedroom. I'm going to jerk it like a king in the living room because mom and dad aren't home. So I get myself all settled, and I put the tape in the VCR, and I've got like my popcorn on one side and Jergens hand lotion on the other. And I hit play on the VCR, and the movie starts, and it's the mullet guy and the girl, and they're riding their bicycles through the countryside, and they decide to put down a picnic blanket in a field, and he starts eating out her basket, and then the other guy's like riding along, and he's like, hey, look, there's two people having sex in the field. I'm going to join them. And they're like, hooray. And so the two guys are like taking turns going at it with this chick. And I'm kind of excited because it's like, oh, there's two hard cocks on the screen. Like, this is great. But then the time comes when the director, is like, okay, now you two kiss. And it's like immediate, just like they totally lose their hard-ons. And I'm like, oh, God, these guys are like totally buy for pay. Like, fuck. And, and this is the 90s, and Viagra has not been invented yet. So, they're just trying to make do with what they got. But it's kind of like, when you're trying to like thread a needle and the thread is hitting the side and it keeps like bending, right? Like, but they're just trying to make do with what they've got, and I'm trying to make do now with what I've got to deal with. And when I like hear a car in the driveway, and I'm just like, Shah! And I jump up, and I like shit goes flying everywhere, and I am like hitting the eject button, and the VCR is just, and the tape won't come out. I'm like, oh. And it won't go back in. Like, it is just stuck halfway out of the machine. Like, the VCR has eaten my tape. It is holding it hostage like it's a fucking narc. And so, in this moment, if you were to ask me if I would like to have, if I would rather my arm be ripped off by a monstrous murder clown, or have my parents walk in the door, I'd have been like, take it. Just please take it. I can learn to use the other hand. It's fine. Like, just please, because there is nothing more terrifying to a 17-year-old than to have your parents walk in while you're watching approximately gay porn. Like, it is just confusing for everyone. So in a moment of brilliance, I unhook the VCR, I grab it, and I run upstairs to my bedroom. And I grab my VCR, which is the same make and model, run downstairs, and like just slam it on the TV. And it's one of those, floor wooden console televisions, right? So I just slam it on there, and I thrust myself over the television, and I'm trying to hook up all the wires when my parents walk in. Now, they've just had a really nice night, right? Like, they just were out with some friends, they had dinner and some drinks, and they come home, and in the living room, there's just popcorn all over the couch, Jergens on the carpet, and I am bent over the TV, I am sweaty, I am breathing heavy, my arms and legs are flailing, and my parents, being the conflict avoidant people that they are, just slowly backed out of the room and never said a word. Like, ever. Never. So that was like a win-win for me, right? But, just like those characters in the movie, like that day I had to face my deepest fears and, overcome a series of challenges to reach my ultimate goal, which was to see couple of men just awkwardly fondle each other. But it was a real, hero's journey. But at the end of the day, I was able to get bicycling out of the other VCR, and the tape was all chewed and mangled and stretched. And after I dropped it off at the video store, I just felt really bad for the next person who rented it, because, well, it was just a really bad porn. Thank you.